We're delighted to have Jay from UAS, if you'd like to come up. And we're going to go through the importance of trip planning. Please keep sending in slider questions in, particularly as this is something, I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on. So let's go through, we have that question. How hard is it at the moment to get permits and approvals for trips in the region?
Do we have a few hours to talk about this? It actually depends on which civil aviation you're dealing with, as a matter of fact, and what kind of operation you are trying to operate. For example, dealing with an overflight also is different than dealing from a landing permit. For overflight, most countries are fairly easy, with the exception of few such as China and Russia. For landing, also it's based on what type of operation you're operating, whether it's 121, 135, or 91.
So that's private or commercial?
Yes. So take Dubai, for example, is one of the places where it has an open sky policy for overflight. So really, for most operations, overflight permit is not required. But when it comes to landing, it's the infrastructure is there. There's a lot of local support on the ground, and the civil aviation is extremely professional and efficient. So there's no issue there.
So you're a global company, and how would you rate the Middle East generally compared to getting approvals in Europe or North America or South America?
You want the true answer? It might surprise some people, but actually the Middle East is one of the easiest, believe it or not. Dealing with countries like the United States, for example, it's extremely difficult to get things done. So the Middle East, I would say, is one of the easiest.
Why?
It's because of the mentality in the Middle East, specifically in the UAE and some of the more developing countries in the Middle East. They tend to have the mindset of facilitating business and facilitating inbound traffic. So I think the maturity also of their systems and the regulation is helping with this.
We hear a lot, you're working very hard to digitize it and work out ways of making it. You've been working on that for how long now? To try and digitize and make the process quicker and faster?
We've been trying for a very long time, actually, and it's a work in progress.
And what's the problem? How much of the problem is operators and how much is regulators?
Actually, the problem revolves around many factors, not only operators and regulators. As you see, the trip support business has a smaller than average niche market. There's the problem with the flight safety regulations. There's the problem with the cost involved in developing such technologies. There's the problem of trying to change the status quo, if I may say, which is trying to change people from stopping from using legacy systems to transforming into newer systems.
I'm sorry, let's go to questions. Do you see, when you talk to a civil aviation authority, do you see them keen to take away the paper and the per? At the moment, when we go through it, you have pilots printing out things and signing them. Do you see regulators wanting to move on? Or is it unfair? Do you see some wanting to be ahead of the curve and look at things like blockchain now?
We are seeing positive reaction from certain regulators around the world, but unfortunately the vast majority needs a bigger push to move toward that.
What's the biggest headache that your guys have in your job?
Manual processes. It's one of the most time-consuming and prone to error processes that we may encounter, which is the manual processes. And I believe if we implement technologies in all aspects of trip support, things will be much better, faster, and more efficient.
And when we're talking about manual, is this across the board, pilots?
Exactly. If you walk through it, let's talk about having a trip planning process. You get the pilot or the dispatcher sending you an email or calling you on the phone requesting for certain services. You file for those services with the regulatory authorities, or you do them in-house, and then you chase them over the phone. So, and there's actually only minimum system involvement in terms of filing and tracking those processes. As you may see, this process is very old, and it's prone to error and sometimes dangerous.
In what ways is it dangerous?
For example, you're trying to file an overflight request manually, and instead of putting a flight number 671, you put 761. That's a major problem when you're trying to cross an FIR and then your information is incorrect. You may end up in diverting or being not allowed entering the country, overflying the country.
On average, how much? Sorry, I'm jumping around. But on average, how much time warning do you get? How many of your trips are planned 2 weeks in advance? How many are planned 1 week in advance? How many are planned?
A lot of people in the audience would agree with me that, especially in charter business, you don't get much notice. It would be nice to have a 1 week or 2 week advance, but unfortunately, according to our latest estimate in UAS, over 83% of the requests we do from our customers are short notice.
And how often can you not meet a request?
Not very often. Depends on, again, what kind of operation we're dealing with, which authority we're dealing with.
Okay, do you want to name the worst ones?
That's a tricky question. I can name a few. I mean, dealing with, for example, dealing with China is never fun. Dealing with the USCBB is never fun. Dealing with India, especially if you're trying to land in some remote airports or in the military or operating a military flight, is definitely not fun. And I can go on and on.
UAS has been doing this for how many years now?
We've been doing this for almost 20 years.
And do you think it's getting easier every year?
I don't know what to tell you. It's unfortunately, it's in some areas it's getting better, in some areas it's just stay the way it is.
And the other issue we're seeing around the world is airport. How hard is it to get slots? Is that becoming something you're also getting involved in more or finding?
It depends on the airport, actually. Some of the airports you will be lucky to get the slot you want. Some of the airports, 99.9% of the time, you will never get the slot that you want. Some airports are easy to get.
And over here, it's not such an issue?
I wouldn't call it an issue here in the UAE, no. I mean, if you compare the UAE to Hong Kong, for example, you would see there's a huge difference.
Which is the one I was thinking of, yeah. So, you've been working for 20 years to digitize, and when are we going to get to the point when it's all electronic? Month and year?
I mean, they asked the CEO of Apple the other day, when do you predict that you will have the next generation of the iPhones that will do certain things, and he could not answer that question. Technology is an evolving process. It's an ongoing process. There's no, did I answer your question?
If you're going to look at the application of technology in aviation, we've seen great, particularly with aircraft manufacturers who've made great processes. How technologically advanced would you say trip planning is?
I think trip planning, unfortunately, is one of the least technologically advanced segment of aviation. Again, it all boils down to various factors. I would say out of 100%, we are only probably 15 or 20% advanced.
Okay, I've got a question from the audience. How do you choose your FBO? What drives your FBO selections?
Mostly at UAS, when we want to partner with an FBO, we conduct an audit. This audit revolves around three things: safety and regulations, training, and customer service.
Sorry, but what do you do if you've got an airport, which is more, you tend to pick one, don't you, and recommend it? Is there anything else you're looking for when because all three FBOs usually have good quality and safety?
Of course, there's customer service part of it, which is very important. Also, the ability to provide certain services, because again, some FBOs Let's take an example. If you have a 787 coming into an airport, not every FBO can handle this airport. Also, the FBO that we choose has to be able to technically handle the aircraft. I mean, in a lot of the airports we operate in, we choose more than one FBO for this exact same reason. We need to be able to cover all the client's requirements, whether they're operating a wide body or a small aircraft.
I'm going to see the reason I'm asking is I'm guessing it's an FBO you haven't selected asking the question in the room.
Possibly.
Do owners understand the limitations involved in planning? Is it, it's very hard, isn't it, to explain to someone who's bought a jet, but you can't land in Hong Kong, or you can't get a flight tomorrow to China.
It's funny you ask this question. We had once an incident of a certain wealthy individual bought an aircraft, and once he got it, he decided the next day he wants to go shopping in New York. And everybody tried to explain to him that it doesn't work this way. You have to wait for the permits, you have to wait for the flight plans, you have to... The insurance was not even there yet for the aircraft. So to answer your question, I think most new owners don't know the process involved in trip planning, but some of the seasoned owners, especially ones who they have their aircraft run by dispatch team or by schedule department, they would understand.
So would you say that part of your job is, like Richard's, I think, who said managing expectations in the last panel, is that one of the things you spend a lot of time?
Yes, there's a lot of no's and a lot of yeses. Sometimes you get asked to do things that it's simply not possible, and sometimes we need to manage expectations.
There's another question from the audience. Are most of your clients operators or private owners?
I would say 80-20.
80% private?
80 operators.
80%. One of the things we saw in the last panel is how competitive the market is for operators. How there's a lot of operators, even in Dubai has a significant number of quality operators, some of whom have. There's also quite a lot of there's a lot of trip planning companies or people in this space. How do you compete with the?
I believe the best way to compete is by the merits of services. What distinguishes any trip service provider than other is the customer service experience that we give to the customer, plus the efficiency and the ability to get things done.
And we've also seen OEMs looking at this sector. Does that worry you, as we saw with the maintenance companies coming in?
Not at all, actually. I would consider it as an educational opportunity for the OEMs.
So, if there's one thing you would say to the operators in this room on how they can get the best or how to plan their trips, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Pre-planning.
Even if they can't pre-plan?
If they can't pre-plan, they can reach out to us for help, but still, most of the requests we receive from operators are doable. Some of them are not, and we are lucky to have a big chunk of our clients who understand that when it's not possible, it's not possible.
Okay, do you have any old school questions in this room? So, final question. And did we have any? Sorry. It's like an auction. If you move your hands, you're going to end up being asked. You've been working at digitising this for 20 years. Do you ever wish you'd found an easier sector to go into?
Absolutely not. I was born to an aviation family, and I've been in aviation since I was 6 years old, and professionally since I was 14. And I believe everybody in this room will agree with me, there's no better industry than aviation.
And on that nice, cheery ending, thank you very much.